Welcome everyone to the Girls In podcast series, where we bring you inspiring conversations and ideas from the world of startups and founders all across the world. Today we're actually talking to an individual who actually featured on another podcast that I used to work on, which was the Lawyer Fed podcast, and since then has actually grown significantly. She's won awards and been in the spotlight for her work with Made with Glove. So she's a public speaker, writer, founder, and exploring the world of wearable tech. So I don't know whether I've missed a few things off that list, but today we welcome to the show founder of Made with Glove, Michelle Hua. Welcome, Michelle. How are you?
Good, thank you, Polly. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. I mean, before we start this conversation, I realised it's been a good year and a half since we've kind of caught up. So, I mean, since we last spoke, which is probably a year or so ago, what's changed in the past year with Made with Glove and everything else you're doing? What's kind of been your milestones and highlights?
Oh gosh, there's been loads. In my journey of starting Made with Glove, I had an idea that, well, it was only because I was so lonely working as a sole female founder, and I had an idea that I wanted more women in wearables to come and join me on the journey. So I met another woman in wearable tech called Maria Budkovic, and we started an organization called Women of Wearables, and it's WOW for short. So in the last year, we've been building that organisation while I've been working on Made with Glove. Oh, I'm a glutton for punishment.
So what is Women of Wearables all about? I assume that's about the wearable technology and female founders, is that right?
Yes, that's right. Basically, in a nutshell, what we do is we inspire, support and connect women in wearables, in fashion tech, IoT and AR and VR. And that was just out of my own challenges again. So we decided to get a whole group of women together, started in the UK, but it has grown globally. And we now have about 8,000 members in our community.
Wow, well done, Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a milestone in your past year. That's really good. In terms of kind of wearable tech, for those who are listening, why is it, I suppose, groundbreaking technology and what makes it different?
So wearable tech is the embedding of sensors and electronics into clothing and accessories.
Yeah.
And the best examples I can give are the Google Glass, the smartwatches, and the fitness trackers.
Great.
But these are hardware products. Wearable tech is a very new and unique industry, and it requires a range of diverse skills to develop this one product. Wow. But because my heated glove is not a hardware product, as most wearable tech products are, the challenge is in building a team with a diverse range of skills who can all communicate and understand each other's technical challenges. And so I'm developing a smart and technical garment that requires technical skills, which is really not easy to come by in the
UK. Definitely not. I mean, what made you think of Made with Glove? What was the idea, that kind of aha moment, which was like, okay, I need to make this?
So it came out of my own challenges. I was on a holiday to Prague, and it was minus 21 degrees.
Wow.
I come from Australia, so I know what it's like in 45 degrees, but I didn't know what it was like less than 5 degrees. So it was a shock to the system. I saw minus 21. I had to rub my eyes and think, what is that? Like, I don't even know what that feels like. So I booked I pre-booked and prepaid a 6-hour walking tour.
Right.
And 2 hours into the walking tour, I couldn't feel my hands or my feet from the cold. So I had these disposable hand warmers, but because I had my gloves on, I couldn't feel the warmth from the hand warmers.
Okay.
So in sheer moment of desperation for fear of my hands falling off, I put my hand warmers inside my glove, and I felt immediate relief. So when I returned to the UK, I researched, when I say research, I Googled fashionable heated gloves for women.
Right, okay.
And all all I could find were big, bulky, black heated gloves for men or for skiers in the snow. So it wasn't until 2 years later that I actually resigned from my job. I was a solicitor working remotely in the UK. My team was in Australia, and I entered and won a wearable tech hackathon.
Oh, amazing.
And then,
Oh, very cool.
yeah, so I decided this was going to be my new career.
Oh, that's so cool. It's such a simple idea. I mean, in terms of like other cool wearable tech that you know about as well, what else kind of stands out at the moment, the kind of the connections that you have, especially with the kind of group that you've started in the organization?
Yeah, so what we've seen, well, because there've been lots of hardware products out there, as I mentioned, the Google Glass and fitness trackers and smartwatches, I've met a lot of women who are building products for women. So, for example, fashion tech products. So Maria, my co-founder, she designed with her team a smart umbrella,
Ah, cool. Okay.
and it's an umbrella that you cannot lose because it notifies you when you've left it behind.
Ah, amazing.
And
So useful.
yes, I experienced this challenge where I was in Melbourne and I had this beautiful Burberry umbrella and I left it behind. And obviously,
Oh,
15 minutes later, I came back and it was gone.
someone's gonna pick up a Burberry umbrella.
Yeah, so that, and they've got beautiful fashionable umbrellas as well. There's other products for women as well, like femtech products in the digital health space, because a woman's body is extremely complicated.
Yeah.
And there's lots of data that we can collect from that. So we're actually in the middle of organising a femtech event where there are digital health products specifically for women.
Oh, amazing. It's so interesting, like the world of wearable tech. I mean, I didn't come across it until we actually did our podcast on Lawyer Fair with you, and then Andrew was kind of talking about
Oh,
it
okay.
with me, and I was just like, it's like a whole nother world of what potentially we could do with technology. And like I've only ever seen it in the cycling industry, like the idea of wearable tech. Is that something that's
Is that
growing at the moment, or
is that for garments or
yeah, like
hardware?
garments, etc.?
Of course, yes. So Polo Ralph Lauren designed one of the first fitness garments out there that measures your biometric data.
Amazing.
And one of our WOW women actually worked on that garment. So just hearing her story and how she developed it and all the challenges that they faced, and she was one of a team of very many working on
Mm.
it. There's also Victoria's Secret, who worked on a smart bra as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. What does that
So
consider?
yeah,
Smart bra.
again, yeah, it's measuring the biometrics
Ah,
because
okay.
yeah, so it can so it's so close to the body,
Right.
and it's right close to the heart as well. So they designed a smart bra, and there's lots of smart bras out there now.
Yeah.
Victoria's Secret was one of the first,
Ah, so
and you're looking mainly in the health and sportswear market
yeah,
because that's where it started with the measuring of the
yeah,
data.
yeah, definitely. Especially, I think like in the football industry, and I think within rugby, I think they were one of the first sports in the world to actually have kind of this technology within the clothing that these sports people are wearing, and then they
Yeah,
kind of after each training practice, they'll take in the data that they've had from that session.
yeah.
But yeah, really interesting kind of how it's developed. So I'm hoping Made with Glove goes even bigger. Have you got any kind of exciting plans for the rest of this year or anything coming up?
Um, Yeah, so while I was working on Winner of Wearables, my prototype was actually being made in Silicon Valley. So
Wow.
I had a technical team working on it. So I didn't really have to do much, obviously, because that's not my role. So I had a bit of time to work on Women of Wearables, um,
Very good.
while my team was working on the technical side. So it's come back from Silicon Valley, and it was really, it's so nice to see that you've got an idea and you're teasing it out with someone, and then they do it and they send it back to you, and it worked, and you discuss it, and it's there, and it was a surreal moment because I thought it's getting real, and it's quite scary. It's scary and exciting at the same time. So there's
Exactly.
still more work to do. We're building on the third prototype, but yeah, it's exciting.
So I assume you haven't gone to market with it yet, or you have with a different version, you're improving on it, or
Yeah, so there needs to be many iterations when you're dealing
Got
with
it.
product development. Obviously, I didn't realize this when I first started, but there was a very, very steep learning curve that I heard that it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. But, it's been like 2 years and it's gone by so fast, but
Yeah.
I've learned so much in the process. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what will happen in the next year or so,
Yeah, me too.
and seeing yeah, how many iterations we can make, and talking to the users and coming back and just I'm not trying to make something perfect, but I'm just trying to make something usable, because when you're researching, you go down a path, but then the more you find out, the more iterations you have to make. So
I think
it's a
that's
steep
like,
learning
I
curve.
think that's the mantra of all startups, isn't it? You keep looking,
Yeah, it's everything.
researching, and you're like, oh, let me just tweak
Yes.
this, let me just tweak this. So yeah, and
Yeah.
like obviously your background was originally legal, kind of the legal industry, and that's quite a kind of I suppose a profession, as everyone says, like legal or a doctor. I mean, what made you make the transition to working with a startup and starting your own business?
Um, I was working remotely for the Western Australian government, from the UK, and I did that for a year. My boss let me leave for a year,
Well,
and I stretched it out to 2 years because I
must
really
be good.
enjoyed being over here. Yeah, and then the time came when she said, "Okay, I can't let you stay there forever. You have to make the decision whether to come back or stay there." And that was my the catalyst, really, was I didn't want to go back. I wasn't ready to go back to Australia.
Yeah,
And then my glove idea was sort of picking up, and
great.
yeah, I just made that choice.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean,
Mm.
in terms of kind of working in a startup, what's been your biggest challenges, would you say?
And the biggest challenge is in finding the team to work with, because it's such a new product. It's not one of those products that's been out in the market and you enter it and you've got the people to work with you.
Yeah.
I know that in any company it's hard to find and recruit staff, but in this situation, I've got um, I've got lots of different bits to the product all rolled into one.
Oh,
So, I need a textiles engineer, I need a software engineer, I need an electronics engineer.
wow. It's a very like
So it's
niche sort of
yeah,
experience, I suppose.
yes, very niche, and I'm not finding it in the UK, unfortunately, but I've had to look elsewhere, and there are pockets of people out there. So, and the great thing about the internet is, you can reach anyone. Like you're,
Exactly.
I assume you're down in London.
Yeah, I'm down in
Um,
London. Yeah,
yeah, and I'm in Manchester, so we're able to connect.
very true.
The second biggest challenge is funding.
Right.
Finding funding for an innovative startup is always a big challenge as well.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
what keeps you up at night, isn't it? It's like,
yes, yes.
am I going to be funded? How am I going
Finding,
to be here next year? Like,
yeah, or tomorrow.
tomorrow?
But yeah,
Exactly. No. I mean, it's that adds to the whole roller coaster of a startup. It is far more kind of exciting than, say, a corporate world where you're kind of, I suppose you're just happily going along. I mean, that's what I personally found. And then in the startup world, you're just kind of like every day is different. What's
yes.
tomorrow gonna throw at me? Just on the point of what you kind of mentioned about the talent here in the UK, do you think that there's a lack of kind of, I suppose, education at a young age that they can do this sort of learn this technology at a young age, or why is it that you think you have to kind of go, I suppose other countries have got the talent already there? What do you think the UK is lacking?
Well, I certainly think they're lacking the opportunities
Yeah.
for the students to learn, because technology is moving so fast, and for it to trickle into the education system, then they need to teach the teachers, and then the teachers have to be confident to teach the students.
Yeah, yeah, it's very true.
So, and because we're at a pinnacle moment, because I don't know how old you are, but I certainly didn't grow up with technology. I had to learn it.
Yeah.
Kids now are growing up with technology, and the teachers, similar to me, we have to learn it and then teach it, whereas the students nowadays, they already know it.
They're teaching you,
um,
like they're teaching.
yeah, so Yeah, so I think that's a difficulty. I'm going into schools and teaching them about wearable tech and what's out there, and they're learning so quickly because I deliver my wearable tech workshops.
Yeah.
I thought teaching them circuitry and electronics would be difficult, but what I found difficult is teaching them how to sew,
Really?
which, yes, which is what I learned when I was growing up.
Wow, what a complete like flip.
Yes,
The kids know how to
big,
kind of do circuits and electronics. It's amazing.
yes. Yes, they pick that up very quickly. It's teaching them how to sew, doing the needlework. I had one mother actually ask me why her child needed to learn how to sew. And I thought, okay, right, that's interesting.
I suppose
But
there's
that's
probably a,
it.
there's probably a startup out there that where you can anything that needs sewing, you just send it to them and they'll send it off to someone. So
Yeah. Which makes me really sad because, that's something that I grew up doing. I learned how to sew very, very quickly and early on. Growing up, and it's interesting to see where parents' mindsets are. It's in technology, which is fine, but I think there needs to be a balance
yeah,
always.
yeah, I think kids do need to sometimes jump out of the phone a little bit, out of the iPad. I mean, I have a younger brother and
Yeah.
sister, and they're so in tune with technology, but actually I mean, when I say technology, it's not necessarily coding or actually from my experience, I wouldn't say they would know how to like put a circuit together or really deep into electronics. It is the world of social media that they're hands on with.
Mm,
So maybe there's that whole idea that okay, they have the skills, but maybe they need that next level of skills to create the talent, which we should have here in the UK as well, so that startups like
yeah.
yourself can access
Mm,
them straight away. But I mean, it's exciting. I mean, a kid kind of doing one of your workshops, I mean, that opens their mind so much, which I mean, I never had that when
oh,
I was younger. So I'm sure there's lots of
exactly.
young children who are absorbed in the world of wearable tech. I'm sure they've got ideas themselves and it gives them confidence that they can do it as well, really.
Oh, for sure. I ran a workshop with Cisco during
Cool.
their work experience program. It was a week work experience when I kicked it off with my with a talk that I did about my journey, and then got them to create some wearable tech bracelets. And
Ah, cool.
they really enjoyed it because it was a group of girls who, are inquisitive about technology. They don't realize that they use technology every day, but just teaching them about electronics, and they were great with the electronics. And then they
Yeah,
got to decorate and use their creative side,
yeah.
and they all really enjoyed it, and it was really nice to see them succeed in making everything, and they wanted to then explore further. What else can we do?
Yeah, it's
And
really
that's
exciting even to
yeah,
hear that's the kind of mentality that they're absorbed in the world of technology. They enjoy doing it, and I think that's half the
yes,
struggle sometimes. As long as they enjoy it and they're challenging
yes,
themselves, then they're kind of halfway there to succeed in whatever they want to do, really. So that's really positive.
yeah,
I mean, just
yeah.
on the
And they had the
yeah,
and they just had the determination that it had to work, and they wanted it finished in that
go on.
time frame, and it was really nice to see.
I think that's more of a female thing, isn't it? We must
Yes, oh yes.
I mean, just on kind of
Yeah.
female founders and that whole idea, do you think there could be more done to have female founders in the startup world? Because I was reading a statistic that there's kind of, I think it's only 14% of founders in the
Yes.
world are female. So, what's your opinion on that, I suppose?
What I'd love to see more female founders and more support for female founders. Most of them are sole female founders, which is even harder for them.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting because I was told to get a white male to join my team.
What?
Yeah, just yeah. And I thought, okay, well, um, I'd like people to join my team, whether or
Oh
not
my
they're
God.
white and male is beside the point. If they happen to be white and male,
Yeah.
that's fine. But someone specifically told me to hire a white male
Wow.
in my
And
team to help me with
did
my
they say that that would give you more success or that?
yes, of course, yes,
Wow. Oh my
yeah,
God. That's
yeah, which is a real shame.
wow.
um,
That's surreal that in
so
this day and age you hear that.
Yeah, but everyone that I've worked with in my team have been female because of the skills. I don't discriminate. It's just they so happen to be female,
Yeah.
um, and they want to work with me because I'm building a product specifically for females.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I suppose, and well, who better has an insight than kind of a female person? So that's always a plus on that.
Yeah.
And that's really
Yeah.
interesting. I can't believe I'm still in a bit of shock that someone actually would have said that. It's interesting though, because one of the other podcast guests actually mentioned that she worked in the world of Google and then started her own design company, which is doing really well at the moment. But she said that something quite similar actually. She was told that she should hire a white male if she could, but then when she actually did the interviews, it was only females that actually showed up and were really good at what they were offering. So it's crazy that they think that that is what will give you success. But yeah, I suppose
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because when I speak to female founders and females in high level positions and look at their team, usually if they're the ones doing the interviewing,
yeah,
they usually have a high rate of females applying.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah.
And then go on to hire, because people do tend to hire people who like them.
Yeah, that's
so
for a better kind of work relationship as well, I suppose.
probably, yeah. So if we have more female founders in the tech industry, there could be more female employees and technical people, because you seek a common ground, don't you? Not only just being female, but just in the way you work.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to say the least, I think the work that you're doing, kind of going into schools, which I didn't realize, and doing these workshops, I think like that's huge. I mean, I'd love to like every school to have that. And kind of the whole idea around Girls In is that the schools in kind of remote countries and villages, that they can one day kind of have access to these sort of workshops, open their mind a little more, and move away from that stereotypical path that they've got to go down, really. So yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I hope we see more female founders. My past kind of 5 years working is being in the world. I've been surrounded by kind of, I suppose, the white males, if you want to put it that way. So I've never had a female boss either. So yeah, it's interesting that sort of opinion is still out there, especially within. Was that an opinion in the UK or was it outside of the UK? Wow.
No, it was definitely in the UK. Yeah. I was okay. It didn't surprise me because I looked around and saw a lot of white males in tech companies. So, and then when I pitched to white males, and that it didn't surprise me really. But going on to your to reaching girls globally, I've decided to put my workshops online now.
Great. Very exciting.
Only because I've been contacted by women and girls from all over the world saying, we'd love to take part in your workshops. How can we do that? I've been running some one-on-one Skype sessions, which I don't generally tend to do, but when they say, please, we really want to, I can't say no to when people want to learn, because they're already halfway there if they want to learn.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Well, good for you, Michelle. I mean, that's great. You're going for it and doing the kind of virtual world of learning. I love it. That's the way it should be. I mean, thank you for your time anyway. I think our last question that we ask all our guests is, if you could give your younger self any advice, what would it be?
I would say, don't believe it when they tell you can't do it. Just do it anyway. And if they say you can't do it, ask them why, and then try and prove them wrong. It might take you a while, but that's okay. Patience is a virtue.
As long as you prove them wrong, that's the main thing.
Exactly.
Great. Thank you so much, Michelle. Really good.
Thanks, Polly.
Talking to you. And I wish you all the best with Made with Glove. I've got full confidence that it's going to go global. So yeah, great stuff.
Thank you. Thanks, Polly.